Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monique Macrin. If you're new here, karibu sana, and if you've consistently supported my channel, thank you so much. I know it's been a minute, like a hot one, before since I last posted my new video. I have no reason, just that life hasn't been lifing. I haven't had the capacity to pick up the camera and vlog, and I don't know, so today just felt like it. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about the things that you should know before choosing a normal delivery. And I know this is going to be a very controversial video. Why? Because I feel like in the African setup, we glorify normal delivery regardless of the things that a woman have to undergo. Like when you ask a doctor, maybe a gynecologist, just any doctor, they're going to tell you that normal delivery is better than a cesarean section. And if you ask them about the advantages of the normal delivery versus the cesarean section, they are going to tell you it's easier to heal, it's natural, and the risks involved are not as dire as those ones of a cesarean section. But I'm here to tell you that in my experience, that wasn't the case, and so is the experience of most other women. However, I also want to point out that for some women, it's actually the safest and easiest mode of delivery. But the reason I'm putting up this video is because that for some women like myself, who went through a very traumatic and risky normal delivery, we still find the society trying to push us to go for a normal delivery. We still find doctors who keep telling you that, okay, a normal delivery is easier. But I feel like when it comes to matters mode of delivery, I wish doctors can understand what women go through. And I wish they can, take into account our previous experiences before trying to, I don't want to use the word force, but before trying to lure us towards a certain method, because that was the case for me. Like most of my friends who are doctors, they kept telling me, oh Monique, just go for a normal delivery, blah blah blah. And then I would try to tell them, like, with my previous delivery, this is what happened. And then they would tell me, oh, every delivery is not the same, blah blah blah. But at some point, I remember asking one of them, why are you not considering the fact that mine was actually risky the previous time? Why are you not, why are you not trying to accommodate a thought that probably a cesarean section is what would be safer for me? Anyway, I feel like I'm just talking. But anyway, I want to put this video so that any person who is trying to decide between a normal delivery and a cesarean section can, probably have a point of reference in a very non-medical way. Like, I'm coming to you as not as someone who is working in the healthcare industry, just a mom who has gone through a normal delivery and a cesarean section. So one of the things that I would want you to know is that labor is unpredictable. For some women, it's precipitate labor. That means, like, there are some people who just go through labor for like 3 hours and they're done. So it might feel like, a very easy affair, but actually a precipitate labor has its own risks. Then those women who go through normal labor, which is supposed to be like something like 10 to 12 hours, and there are also women like myself who go through like prolonged labor. I labored for like 2 days, and it's hard to predetermine the duration of labor. So I want anyone who is watching this video to know that regardless of the history from your maybe maternal side, like maybe your mom had easy deliveries, maybe your sisters have had easy deliveries, it doesn't mean that automatically your labor is going to be normal, prolonged, or a precipitate one. It matters from person to person. So I just want you to come into it knowing that it could be a precipitate, normal, or prolonged. And just to mention, and actually, by the way, I think it's important for me to mention that sometimes for some women, labor is painless. Totally painless. I've had moms who just felt like cramps, and for them they're going to tell you that labor is not hard, but pushing is the problem, because for them labor wasn't too painful. They just felt things like cramps, that mild cramping pain, but the pushing for them was painful. And then we have those other moms whose labor is terribly and excruciatingly painful, and we must be able to understand that it's not a matter of threshold for pain, but well, sometimes it matters, and it's a valid concern if you ask me. And there are also those people who have like a relatively manageable pain levels during labor. So you could fall either, you could follow you could fall anywhere. You could be those people who are lucky enough to just have cramps. You also could be those people who have manageable level of pains, and then there are those people who have like excruciating pains. So by the way, when someone is maybe talking about their labor experiences, do not be that woman who is going to tell them, you're exaggerating, labor is not that hard, blah blah blah. No, know that people experience it differently. And then there are also those moms who have to be induced. Like in my case, I was induced, and I'm telling you for a fact, induced labor is excruciatingly painful. And then I've also noticed that even with inductions, there's variations. I've seen moms who are induced and they usually have that break, like they have pains and then for 1 minute they have a break, and then the pain peaks again. For me, to be very, very honest, I didn't have a break. The pain was coming from the back, then to the front, back, front. I remember there was no break. I actually remember at one point I called the doctors and I was like, why did you guys lie to me? Mliniambia, you told me that I'm going to be having breaks in between the contractions. So for some women, when they're induced, there is absolutely no break. I had no break. And the other thing that I want people to know is that you could have an episiotomy. An episiotomy is whereby someone cuts your perineum, or so that probably the baby is too big, probably the area is too tight, and it is done mostly in the favor of the mom. But it's good for you to know that you could have an episiotomy. Worse, there could be a tear, and when that is done, usually they have to suture you up, but a scar is left, and this scar might affect a lot of things, intimacy and all. So it's important for you to know that such like things can happen, and I feel like it is a valid concern when you're choosing between normal and a cesarean section, because people are likely to tell you that for CS you're going to be left with a scar for life, but then even for a normal delivery you can be left with a scar for life, only that this scar for a normal delivery is usually somewhere in there, somewhere that most people don't really see, but you can actually sometimes feel the side effects of those scars years and years later. So honestly, when they say that with a CS there's a scar and they do not mention the episiotomy scar, anyway. Then for normal delivery you could experience PPH. PPH is where, like, the instances of bleeding, but most of the times these can be controlled, these can also be prevented. I have done a video talking about how to prevent excessive bleeding. So as much as I'm talking about PPH, it is totally okay. To most extent it can be prevented and managed, so do not be worried about that. But it's also something you should be able to consider, and especially if you've had previous experience in PPH, you should definitely mention this to your midwife. Another thing that I want people to know is that the issue of back pains. So we have talked about, most people talk about back pains after cesarean section, but they fail to mention it for people who have to undergo a normal delivery. In my case, I had terrible back pains after my normal delivery. With my CS, no pains, totally, I feel okay. So I hope that you're not going to choose either mode of delivery mostly basing on back pains. It can happen if it is a normal delivery, and it can also happen if it's a cesarean section. I also want to mention things like postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is very common for normal deliveries, and especially for first-time moms. Personally, I feel like I went through postpartum depression because the whole process was very traumatic. It was a very difficult labor and delivery experience, and that was one of the things that I used to gauge whether I want another normal delivery. With the cesarean section, it was relatively peaceful for me, and let me tell you, I was not depressed after that. So I feel like if you haven't had a baby, probably I feel like you can try a normal delivery, yes, but if you've had a normal delivery which was not friendly, which was not favorable to you, please let no one make you feel any bad for wanting to choose a cesarean section. I am so proud of myself that I chose a cesarean section, and for me it was the best decision ever. With a normal delivery, I nearly died 2 times. It left me with honestly, I don't want to make this video in a way that I'm demonizing normal delivery, because that is not what I'm doing. I'm just here trying to advocate for a woman who has gone through a very troublesome normal delivery. I'm here to tell you that it's okay if you choose to go through a normal delivery once again, and it is also very, very, very much okay if you choose to go for a cesarean section. Okay, so yeah, let no one tell you that it's easier to go through a normal delivery, because for some people like myself and other moms out there, it's not easy, and cesarean section was easier. So I'm going to also make another video talking about some of the side effects of a cesarean section that are not mentioned, because I feel like with this video I majorly talked about the side effects of a normal delivery. So I know this is going to be a very probably controversial topic, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, this is why we should have such videos, to open up conversations, to let people come and, you know, comment in the comment sections. But at the end of the day, I feel like the medical field need to sometimes step out of what the books tell them and listen to real stories from women before they can just go out and say that a normal delivery is easy. It's not, and it's not the same for every mom. So yeah, that's about it. If you've come this far in this video, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and also like the video. Liking a video goes a long way in promoting my channel. Until next time.